questions.
All right. Excuse me, guys. I got I got a frog in my throat this morning. I don't know what the deal is. Can't seem to get rid of it. I know I'm COVID free because I just got my negative result, so don't worry about it. I'm not gonna belabor the point much on Notre Dame. I know it's been a while since we played them, but I think it's really important that we all understand that defense and rebounding win championships, and we didn't do either in that game. I thought it was fool's gold at halftime when we were only down 3. I told our team that. I thought Notre Dame was just missing wide open shots. We weren't really forcing them to miss. We talked for 2 days about making them miss, not hope they miss. Play your man before the catch, not after the catch, especially against teams like Notre Dame that can really run offense. Excuse me. And I don't think we got that done. I told them, they were not going to miss shots in the second half. They came out, went on a 16-0 run. I thought that we panicked on the offensive end, took some bad shots, took some my turn shots, and then we allowed our lack of offense to carry over to the defensive end and not compete. And that was pretty much for the first time all year. Defense travels, offense doesn't. Championship level teams have a clear identity. They know who they are and they play and practice that way. And, especially in times of adversity. And our team knows our identity, but we didn't play to our identity, and actions speak louder than words. And so we gave them Wednesday off. Thursday, we talked about this and watched the film and then moved on. One of the things about, us being in COVID and then playing 10 games in a matter of a month, we haven't had a lot of time to practice on ourselves. We played our first, ACC game on January, 3rd? And I think we played our 10th game on the 2nd. So that's 31 days, 10 games, 18 practices, only 3 days off. But 6 of those 10 games were on the road, and now we're going to end on 8 out of 12 of our first games on the road, which has been a challenge. But practice has been difficult just because we've been, playing so many games. You have to really work on your opponent. And I can only really remember one practice where we just worked on ourselves, and that was after we got beat at Georgia Tech. We came back and really worked on ball movement before we played Virginia. So having those 2 and maybe 3-quarter practices on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday for most of the practice was probably really good for us. There's a big difference between regular practice and what I would call scout practice. Regular practice, you play best on best. Scout practice is more of your top 10 against the scout team. And our scout team does a great job, but competitive wise and just working on our stuff, it doesn't always go that way when you're working on scout. I believe in teaching whole part whole. So when we do scout, I meet with my assistant who's in charge of the scout. We show the film, scout tape 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times before we play. But the first practice that we put it in, we watch the scout tape. And then we come out. And I learned this from the NBA a while back when I would go to practices. On one end, the scout team puts the scout in with with the black team. And then on the other end with me, the white team runs dummy offense, and then we flip it. That way you don't have a lot of people standing around. You got a lot of things going on at one time. I like doing that. And then I break it down. I do defensive stations on their main actions, really break it down to the apart method. We work on defensive transition. Like we'll do defensive transition today against Boston College, shell drill against Boston College, 3 strikes against Boston College. You got to get 3 strikes or 3 stops in a row guarding their stuff. We'll play make miss, which means they'll change defenses on makes and misses. We'll play a scout game where the scout team will run the offense against black. Black gets a stop. They can't run unless they get a stop. They transition down on white. White will guard them, probably zone, and then white make or miss will come back against the scout team against zone. And then we run specialties, inline out of bounds against Boston College. So as you can tell, there's a lot to do before you play an opponent. So you're not really getting a chance always to work on the things maybe that you need to work on. We do still do individual skill instruction every day, but That's 10 or 15 minutes. Other than that, you have to get a lot of this in. So I felt good about having those practices on Thursday, Friday, and most on Sunday. We put the scout in right at the end of practice on Sunday. We did it yesterday. We'll do it today at 12:30, and then we'll travel to Boston College this afternoon. Boston College has had a lot of COVID issues, like a lot of us. I think they played a really tough non-conference schedule. They play hard. They're competitive. They're going to play zone, which we've struggled against. They've got really good guards. I think Felder's kind of a JYD. He's a tough kid, and they're a reflection of their coach, Jimmy Christian. Open it up for questions.
Steve, I know you got asked about Louisville's situation, kind of what they're going through. But what's it like for you having dealt with, the COVID situation that you dealt with so early in this season? What's it like for you to, I guess, see some of these other programs kind of going through it still? Yeah. It's not like it's happened once in a program and gone away either.
Right. You can argue, like I said this before, there's I guess you would call the drip method, where they just kind of have a constant drip each week. Every other 2 weeks, one or two guys get it in these programs, and they got to shut down. They got to contact trace. We kind of got hit by a tsunami, and everybody, pretty much, not everybody, but a significant number of the people in our program got it. And so we haven't had that. We got all hit at one time. And so we were able to obviously have a very long pause and then move forward. And that doesn't mean that we couldn't get it again, because we can. And me included. I mean, I haven't had it. And so I feel for them. I understand what they're going through. It's frustrating. It's hard on the players. It's hard on them mentally, especially I think for those teams and I haven't had this situation where you actually get to you travel, you get there, and then it gets shut down. You got to go home. I'm sure that's heartbreaking. I know football went through that a lot. Our football team got ready to play several times and then, didn't get a play. I think it probably is hard to keep them motivated, keep the players excited about playing when you're really not. There's things you just can't control. Normally in basketball, you control. Unless you're hurt, you're going to play, right? We're rarely going to get snowed out or something like that. But, there's been a lot of games played this year, and, and we've all kind of concentrated on the positive, but I think it would be interesting to go back when the season's over and count up the number of games we haven't played. And there would probably be a pretty significant amount of games that, that didn't get played. So, I like what Chris is going through. It's just kind of been constant for him, and now he's got it. I hate that. It's scary. A guy that I know who's my age died on Sunday. Lou Hill, head coach at Rio Grande. He had some complications from what I've read about COVID, and I think some heart issues on top of that. And so it's a scary deal. And, I hope nobody has to go through that.
When you look at the trajectory of your team, the first game after COVID against Georgia Tech, you guys struggled mightily, did not play really well. You probably showed the most improvement from game to game following that Georgia Tech game, though. And now if you look at like Boston College, they had their break and they played their first game against NC State, kind of got run out of the gym for a while, got things together late in the game, and now they're set for game 2 against Wake Forest. Does that concern you in any way? Well,
listen, I think I always knew this. I always expect every game to be very competitive. I'm not looking at this game like, they got 4 guys or whatever guys they got, scholarship guys dressed. I always go into a game assuming that everybody's going to play. And so I've watched enough of them to know that they're very competitive. Nobody in this league is going to lay down. And they've got some good players. They got really good guards, and so I expected it to be a really hard-fought game, and my biggest concern is not so much, how they're going to play. It's more how we're going to play, and against zone especially. And, I put zone defense in last week. We've been practicing. I mean, now I'm talking about our top 10. Usually we just do the scout team with the zone, but I wanted it to be more competitive. And so we've done it. And quite frankly, we haven't played great against it. And I think the reason why is the quality of your shot is depending on how well you pass the ball against zone. Quality of shot really depends on how well you pass it. And we don't pass the ball. We're not a great passing team overall. And so you have to be able to take on two defenders and you have to be able to make a pass. And so we've struggled with that. We've gotten better a little over this last, few days, and we'll have to stay on that same trajectory today and tomorrow to be prepared to win.
Steve, what's the mental aspect for Ian coming back after not playing for 2 months?
It's a good question, Carter. I think he's probably putting a little too much pressure on himself. He's getting a little frustrated. His conditioning's gotten a heck of a lot better. Since I've got the job here, we wear heart monitors, and we track them during practice on an iPad with the strength coach. And so his percentages were high, obviously, when he started. And what you're looking for is how high your heart rate gets, and then how quick you can recover and get back to the green, from red to green. And he's gotten better and better on that every day. He's getting there, but he just doesn't have his legs. He doesn't have the timing. He just hasn't done anything. And so I think whatever we get out of him is going to be great. I haven't put any pressure on him as far as, you got to do this or that. I just want him to get out there and help us. But I think probably for him, he's probably, I think he's putting a little pressure on himself to be back to what he remembers in November. And it's just not going to happen right away. But it's good to have him out there. And he is a guy that can attack gaps, and get in there against zone and make some plays.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, I would think with him, it's a matter of no matter what you tell him, he's still going to put pressure on himself.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what good players do, right? I mean, even coaches, everybody says we got pressure, but the most pressure that we have is the pressure we put on ourselves. And I think that's the same way with a really good player, is that, he's going to pressure himself. That's why I don't have to get on him like that. I know he's trying the best that he can. And that's why he didn't play, the first couple, obviously Miami, Notre Dame, he just wasn't ready, physically. And so the extra days kind of really helped him. And, but I think too, it's timing and rhythm, and those kind of things, but he'll get there, as we move towards the finish line.
Steve, to follow up on that about Ian, how much did you have to sort of bring him along slowly from a conditioning standpoint? And is it a different thing than when you're bringing a guy back just in general who maybe hasn't had an issue, just getting back in shape? How different was that part?
A lot of that is just, I trust the player, the trainer, and my strength coach on that. So I'm not big on subbing in practice. You kind of sub yourself in and out, unless I take you out, and then you might have to sit out for a while. But, I really kind of trusted him. Like, I just tell him, listen, you go as hard as you can for as long as you can, and then you go out. And that's the thing with having the monitor, having Mike Starkey, having Greg Collins there. They know, and they're constantly talking to him during practice, not just him, all the players. And so I just kind of leave it up to them about what they feel they can and can't do. And that's really no different than anybody coming back from an injury. Ultimately, they're the ones that know their body the best, right? And so if I look over there and they're not in, it's because I know, like Ian, I know he's tired, and he can't go. He needs a rest. And so, but yeah, I was concerned about it. We keep a close eye on all those guys coming back, from any type of illness or injury, that we monitor, how much they get in and how much they get out. A lot of times, like with Ian, when we started him back, he didn't do anything against live competition. Everything was, what I call dummy offense, or, 5-on-0, those kind of things, shooting, there's a lot of things you can do to get his heart rate up, to get back in shape without doing that. But he didn't go live competition until right before we went to Notre Dame, and he just wasn't ready.
Coach, I'm working ahead on something for Florida State this weekend. Being at Northwest Florida State, did you have a relationship with Leonard at all?
Oh, yeah. Leonard, he recruited one of my players, Chris Jones, who ended up going to Louisville. And actually, in the 2 years that I was there, I only went on one official visit. I went over with Chris to Florida State to see Coach Ham and Stan. I've known them forever. I really enjoyed that because Leonard kicked my ass so many times in recruiting that I wanted to listen to what he had to say so I could learn. And I was obviously impressed, and then told him that if I ever got back into, Division I, just to please tell me who was recruiting, and I wouldn't recruit those kids. I went to practice once or twice in Tallahassee when I was over there recruiting. My very first day back on the road after Northwest Florida at Wichita State, I landed in Atlanta, and Coach Ham got off the plane with me, and he basically made me go to lunch with him. We went to Mary Mac's tea room, which is his favorite place to eat in Atlanta. It's a really, really good place to eat. We sat and visited for, I don't know, hour and a half. And then I had to leave. And then he was mentoring a young gospel singer who came in to visit with him. I think if I remember right, I think Coach Ham, one of his children is a gospel singer. But I think the depth of him is very, it's I don't know the word. I mean, he's an unbelievable person, not just a basketball coach. And so anytime I have a chance to visit and listen to his wisdom, I would do that. And so, I'd known him over the years before, but when I went to Northwest Florida, I had more of a chance to get to know him in that manner because we weren't really going against each other. I was actually, if Chris Jones were the one to go to Florida State, I'd have been very happy, and I thought it'd been a great place for him to go. But, there's just a lot more to him than just being a basketball coach. And I've listened to that story, and I might be, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that Coach ended up paying for college for all of his brothers and sisters' children. And that was really important to him, to be, the education piece of it. So, yeah, I've known Coach a while and I have a ton of respect for him.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Boston College, of course, may or may not be shorthanded tomorrow, and how shorthanded they may be, we won't know pie until tip. But the three-point shot can be the great equalizer at times, and they're launching a ton of them. And conversely, your team hasn't necessarily defended the three very well. I'm assuming that's something you've talked to them a lot the last couple of days.
No question. They lead the league, right? I think they make 10. We've crept up in there to the 9, 8, whatever. We're close, but I think for each one of, I've said all along, Les, we got to make threes to win, and I think they do too. And so it's a matter of who's going to do the best job of probably defending the three-point line, and not only defending it, but then on offense taking the right ones and taking the open ones and moving the ball. But yeah, I think they're not that they can't score inside, because I've seen Felder go to work on people, but really truthfully, there's not a huge size disadvantage for us like a lot of games there is. Like for Notre Dame, Durham on tape, he looks like he's 6'10". He looked like he was 7'14" when we played him. That dude is long, and Lazewski's down there, he's 6'10" and he's playing the guard. They got some legit size. I don't think that'll be our issue. I think it'll be more of defending the three-point line and then ball security on our end, and then getting high-quality shots and then making them. You got to make them too.
Steve, kind of going off some of those points you were making earlier, it's mainly about Ian and, kind of his mentality versus what he can actually accomplish. I just wonder, do you think that, what this program and maybe what college basketball has kind of gone through as far as what this season's been, does it help in any way as far as, maybe reacting to on-court disappointment, like a performance like the Notre Dame game, or, maybe even just Ian trying to fight his way back?
Yeah.
Does dealing with that outside stuff kind of help in the on-court situation?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's always distractions every year, right? And that's one of the things I talked to the guys about after the Notre Dame game was, and this is no different. I think Connor asked me this yesterday about this is really not any different than any other team I've ever coached. Okay, it happens, and I'm positive it happens on every team everywhere in the country. But you have to minimize what you're talking, the distractions. You have to block out the noise the best you can. And the teams that manage those things the best are usually the teams that have the best chance to have a great year. And so what kind of noise is that? Well, there's all kinds of it. There's you guys, there's the media. For instance, I asked them after Thursday, how many guys read my comments? And I mean, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but not very many of them did. And that's not, I don't tell them not to look at the media. I really don't. And maybe they didn't want to admit it, but not that many guys like, oh, I read your comments, and so, so those things, there's their coaches, their parents, their friends, their people that have, think that they have their best interest, and I always tell the kids to tighten their circle. You can be friends with a lot of people, but you got to listen to the people that truly have your best interest. What are they really telling you? And what are they telling you is the truth? And so I think that is important. Then we have COVID, right? You have, you want to go to a Super Bowl party after practice on Sunday, but you can't, you want to after the game, you want to go out and go to a party. You can't, there's that always hanging over you. You got your tests 3 times a week. Hopefully, you got to do the right things to pass those. And I'm not talking about academics, and then there's academics, and then there's study hall, and then there's class, and then there's papers and tests. So there's all these things going on and swirling, and you have to do a great job of managing those things. And my job is to try to help them the best I can. But some of that stuff, they got to block out themselves. And so, that's why I really tried hard to be as positive as I can be with them, because it is a tough year. And not only is it tough that we're, what we went through, but it's just the unknown of what's going on every time, you pick up, every time you wake up, something new's happening with the season. Look at what happened, was it yesterday? Miami and North Carolina. That's something I probably need to talk to my players about. And we live in a different world, right? 20 years ago, nobody's taking a picture or a video on a camera of somebody, and then now everything is free game, and you're under that microscope. And so, I don't know if I answered your question. Is that what you were asking? What was I
was just asking about if you'd seen any effect of, positive or negative as far as like dealing with on-court disappointment when they've had to deal with so much court disappointment.
I think they get a little frustrated. I mean, they put a lot of hard work in. They go. I have never come out of practice and went, we dogged it today. They always go hard, man, and they always have really good energy because they know that's expected. So yeah, I mean, I think they want to win. They want to do well, and so yeah, I think that's why winning the games against Miami and Pittsburgh were so important, so they could feel good about themselves. And I think when those things happen, like Notre Dame, it's kind of like my own kids. I mean, a couple of my children, I never had to really yell at them. I just had to look at them and they start crying. Now my youngest, that don't work. But, I think that's sometimes with players, right? You just, they want to do well. They really do. And so, yeah, I think they probably do get frustrated. And that's why it's my job to coach them, but also to encourage them the best I can.
Have players recognized that look yet? That look that scares your children?
I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure of that. But I'm not, listen, it's kind of hard with the old mask on. Can't really see all the time. That's probably a good thing. My mom called me the other day. I think you guys heard me say this probably. And she asked me if it'd be okay if I wear my mask the rest of my career. Yeah, she's probably right. It's probably a good thing in some respects when you're trying to communicate with the officials, but or your team. If there's one thing I learned from Bill Self real quick in coaching is when he was really mad at his team on television, this is how he talks to his team. Have you ever seen him do this? I see it all the time. Well, I didn't learn that early in my career, and so I had a couple moments that got. I'll give you one. We played at Xavier. 07, 08, right before Christmas. Sean Miller was the coach. Chris Mack was the assistant. We won 30 games that year, I think. Went to the Sweets. We won the SEC that year. Had a heck of a team. It was right at the end of the game. We went to Xavier and won. But Coach Pearl got a technical at the end of the game outside the box, coaching the team. And let's just say my reaction wasn't very PG. And I'm pretty sure on SportsCenter that night, the late Stuart Scott said, "Kids, don't read his lips." And that was me. I was standing behind Coach Pearl. I think it's a GIF. You can probably find it. Don't put it out there. But I probably needed to have a mask on at that time. That was a very valuable lesson about, everybody sees what you're saying. Okay, so maybe the mask is probably a good thing for me.
So who was the ref?
James, I think it was James Breedlove. Does that make sense?
Name's familiar. I think he's been in the ACC.
I think James still ref. I mean, he's a good ref, really good ref, high level. And it was a high level game. In fact, I'll never forget this. We pressed on out of bounds plays, and they asked Sean Miller at the end of the game why he didn't call timeout. And we actually stole the ball and went and laid it up in live play. And he said, because I was afraid if I called timeout, we couldn't get it back in bounds. And that proved to me how important that part of the game was, because the other team was thinking about it, right? And it was a hell of a game. I mean, that team went on. We beat Gonzaga in non-conference, beat Memphis, beat Texas. I mean, it was a heck of a team.
There's been a lot of talk in the last 2 or 3 weeks about should there or shouldn't there be end of season conference tournaments.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular take on that?
I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, Les, but I mean, I'm under the mindset that we should go ahead and play it, and give every team the opportunity to make the NCAA tournament, and it's just part of the season. It is. I'm sure there's going to be some people that disagree with that, and it's probably teams that probably don't need to play in the conference tournament to get to the tournament. I can understand that sentiment, but we're all in the league together, and so I think we all got to go, by the same deal. So we're going to play, and and I from my experience of being at a lower level head coach, I mean, you have to have the tournament or you don't get in the tournament. And so I don't think I just kind of laugh when all the, every year everybody's right. And some of these leagues are 2-bid leagues, the lower level leagues. And I know darn well it's very rare, and so you've got to win your tournament. And I think it's something that's an ACC tradition to have the conference tournament. And so we're going to have it and we're going to play in it. And I think everybody should. Is that it?
Yeah, you guys all good?
Wow. Well, I know you guys miss me. So I was busy on Sunday at Super Bowl. I had to coach the team, Tampa Bay, and if I was going to wear one of those Kango hats today, I maybe look just like Bruce Arians. I read his book, The Quarterback Whisperer, and I thought about this. I wrote this quote down. There's nothing worse than confetti falling on your shoulders after the Super Bowl when it's not for you. and that's in his book. And so I felt pretty good for him, you know, on Sunday when it was for him. And so even though I kind of grew up in the Midwest and went to the Chiefs games, but it was good to see that happen. So have a great week, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye, buddy.